Hey there, UK Odysseers. It's time for this, which is the review of my Tidioute 44 Buffalo Jack. This one is specifically the 44 12 18, which I'll put the thing up on screen now. It basically means it's the model number 44, it's the clip point blade, which is number 1. There's 2 blades total, and it was made in 2018 in goldenrod jigged bone. You get it in the tube, which has hammer tested frozen forged 1095. You have handcrafted classic pocket knives and all that stuff on the bottom. This was £140 from, and it's still dirty from the last time I used it. Whoopsie. From Mad63 Taz on Instagram. I'll link him in the description down below. But it also came with that little pin you can see there, the 44 GEC Buffalo Jack badge. It's cool. It's cool to get that because I think they're fairly damn rare. But I mean, that's just a collector's item. And I'm a hopeless user of expensive cutlery, so. You know, it's just it's an interesting little niche. You know, you can, if you want to wear that, sure, why not? But I've nowhere to put that or anything, so I'll leave that to the side. So look at that thing! What a blade! Can confirm I've carried this a few times. I have not sharpened this one. Before I actually do the proper cut test and see how good the edge has stayed on this, these are both 1095 and they're supposedly both the same heat treat. This one was a little bit disappointing. I expected this to perform better. This one sort of, it couldn't get through a day's work without needing a strop, which is really not the end of the world, especially not for a traditional, but I don't know, I saw 1095, I thought it might last a little bit longer, you know, but it's really not bad. It's just as soon as you start hitting cardboard, this just turns to paste. Alright, not paste, but you certainly don't have a fine edge anymore. Maybe I'm complaining too much. I definitely am. But this one, however, I haven't sharpened this yet. This one, well, I mean, I re-sharpened it as soon as I got it, and then since then haven't needed to. It's just been one fine ass piece of knife. You can see some little scratch marks there where I've sharpened it because I'm terrible. And is that a... yeah, that's a scratch on the blade, probably from some cardboard or something. But apart from that, the blade's holding up pretty well. Certainly no patina developing or anything. The pen blade, do you know, because this has got the... pattern, the pattern, I'll get in there. There we go. That PPP, which is Pattern Product Premiere or something, which means this is the first time Tidioute have produced this pattern. For I think they print it on the first 100 or something, and then it might be more than that, but it's the first so many, and then they stop. No more have that PPP on it. So I've actually just left that pen blade completely because that's really cool. And I want to leave that etch on there, which is funny because I don't like the Northfield etch because it just doesn't mean anything. It's just standard. But that's where that's got some kind of actual reason behind it. You know, I quite like it. Centering on this is out of focus. There we go. Bang on. That's all gravy. It's got the usual, just absolutely wonderful fit and finish. Nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit hard to deploy. It's not the end of the world. I've had harder knives, but yeah, it's a little harder than I'd like. But I do feel like this is a really good, you know, proper working man's knife kind of thing. If you're actually going to do some serious labour with this, but you can only really get away with a pocket knife, like a traditional pocket knife kind of thing without scaring people, this would be a really good bet. It's got a solid spring. Like it'll be on the spring chart scale, but this one's a contender for, it's getting up there. So, like I said, it's 1095. You've got your jigged cowbone. You've got the swell shield on there, swell bar shield with Tidioute stamped into it, which is pretty cool. Got your nice brass ends, or nickel silver ends on this one, sorry, and brass liners. And as always with GEC, everything's perfectly matched up. I do slightly prefer the Northfield version of this, where it's got unexcelled stamped here. But I did want to use, because I just wanted to see if there are any appreciable differences. From what I can gather, the Tidioute knives seem to have a stronger action. Also, I do really like the clip point swedge at the top there. That's lovely. I find that a very attractive design. You get your Great Eastern Cutlery, Titusville, Tidioute Cutlery, made in USA. And on the pen blade, of course, you get 44, 12, 18 and carbon. And that's dirty. Maybe I did use this blade a little bit. There you go. That's a lot easier to deploy as well. The pen blade, of course. And do you know what? These don't rub very much. I mean, at all. Not that I've been using. Whereas the Stockyard Whittler, this one, really did rub. It's only because I'm a ham-fisted moron opening it, but it did suffer with some scratching from rub, which is a little bit of a shame on a knife so expensive. But what can you do? There's no left-handed nail nicks, but there's no other reason why this shouldn't work on the left hand. Of course, there's no pocket clip or anything crazy like that. It'd just be, I guess, opening it that way instead, and that seems fine to me. In fact, I almost prefer using my thumb. So let's have a look at the edge retention on this. Let's just quickly do... Yeah, in fact, do you know what? This doesn't have any appreciable. I can't even detect any, like side to side, on either. That's incredible. Most traditionals have just a tiny bit to allow for the lack of washers, but this one, I really can't find any bathe pay in this. No, it's solid as a rock. So maybe the Tidioute line is slightly better built. Just from these two. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, let me just double check this one. I did recently sharpen this, so yeah, that's fine. But this definitely has better edge retention than the Northfield there, like without a shadow of a doubt. This one, like I said, I sharpened this. Maybe I sharpened it once more or stropped it, but either way, I've carried this at least 3 times. This has done 3 full days' work, and it's still got a nice fine edge on this one. Whereas that Northfield, like I said, you take it to a bit of cardboard, which is quite harsh on knives, and it's starting to break the edge down already. So maybe this is the better practical knife, It's certainly looking that way so far. So let's do the old. Oh, you do get a sharpening choil as well, by the way. Did you get it on both? Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so there's a UK PK, there is a classic SD, and there's a Victorinox Pioneer. So it's just about the same size as a Victorinox, just with miles better covers and fit and finish and things like that. And it's about the same size, it's a smidge smaller than the mini grip. Obviously smaller than that and that. But still, look at it. It's a stout knife. It's big enough. Let's have a look and see how UK legal this is. Because there's super safe, there's safe, and there's dangerous. I'm pretty sure this will be... So from the bolster... all the way to the edge. Yeah, look at that. Super safe. The whole blade to the point is... there you go, 2.879 inches. Nothing to worry about there. Might as well measure the cutting edge while we're here. And that is about that. This is another one of those that I've mentioned before that has what should be an incredibly ergonomic handle, where you've got this lovely cutout for your front two fingers to fit into, and then your back two sit on there, sort of like this. And let me tell you, with both of those blades out, there you go. So these two fit under that, like that higher groove, and then your two rear fingers just sit on that back one. Oh, that's lovely. That's just molds into your hand. Unfortunately, this is a twin-bladed knife, so instead, yeah, you're going to have at least that, and that blocks off that whole section, so you're just resting on that, which sucks. I'd almost say you could probably do a lot of work with this if you didn't have that second blade there. Even worse, using the pen blade. I mean, look at that huge chunk, and now you've just got that digging into your hand there. And like I said, you wouldn't be doing anything hardcore with a pen blade anyway, because it's just such a small little. But you know, it really does sort of take away from the what should be an incredibly ergonomic handle. So, there's that. So, what do I think of this? I think it's incredible. Do you know, it's a really dependable pocket knife. I don't think I've got a traditional that I don't think so anyway. Yeah, I don't think I've got a traditional that feels harder wearing than this. This is probably the, you know, gets the award for hardest usable traditional. Not that I ever used traditional for hard use, but, you know, if you wanted one, this isn't a bad shout, you know. But I very much like that. It's, you know, it's GEC, it's good quality all round. If this was this colour, I'd probably love it even more. But even though I have changed the colour of my other GEC, this one, this Northfield, to red, I don't want to. I just don't want three red GECs. I could have easily put this in the same dye, and it did cross my mind. I was like, shall I go get the Tidioute? Nah, I'll just, because this one's still sort of the colour it was meant to be anyway. This is still sort of elderberry. This one would have been completely changed, and I don't hate this colour. I just slightly prefer that one. Well, I greatly prefer that one, really, but it's not an offensive colour to me or anything. It's just, I think that red on the, I think this one looks lovely. Look at that. But yeah, this one, certainly not bad. The golden roller jib bone. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.